Hello, Impassioned Life and Sacred Circles community. I hope you are having a fabulous day. I wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about breaking down judgment. This was the topic that we discussed this past Sunday in Sunday Circle, and I wanted to share it with you. I'm going to try to do this more often, share the topics that we discuss and a little bit of what we talk about so that you can feel involved, even if you either don't live in the area but are still curious, or if you aren't able to attend. So let's talk about this, breaking down judgment. So why is it important to talk about this? We get a lot of messages in our culture, and anybody who grew up in maybe any sort of like religious background, there can be a lot of fear around judgment, right? But how can we take judgment and use it as a tool for our personal development and growth? And why is it harmful? Well, judgment is harmful at its core because it creates contention, it creates competition, it creates scarcity, it needs control. It's not really like, it's kind of yucky, you know what I mean? It's kind of yucky. Now, this is not meant to be judgmental, right? We all do this. We're not going to be judgy about being judgmental. So we are going to take this and we're going to look at 3 attributes of judgment, and we're going to see how they can serve us, how they can help us, and also, how they don't. So let's talk about it. First, self-protection and preservation. Why did I think this is important? I thought this was important because, especially for women, but men too, but for women, we sometimes get this this message that we can't make a judgment call, right? That we're not being nice. Are you not being nice? Don't be nice. Be nice. Be nice. Or we are told that because somebody has a certain association, either in our family or in an organization or a church we might belong to, that they just automatically, we can't judge them, right? Does that feel or sound familiar to you? There's a problem with this. Not all judgments are bad. But what can happen when we aren't allowed to use our intuition, to use judgment as a way for self-protection and preservation? Well, we talked about this week how we either have no boundaries or we have way tall walls. Neither of those serve us very well, right? So having a nice medium wall is a great way to be. It's okay to protect yourself. It's okay to make a judgment call around your boundaries, around your time, around your friendships, around everything, your family. It's okay for that to be there. And how can we observe this? And we talked about, taking time to get to know people. That's a really important thing. One of the best things that I ever heard long ago was that forgiveness is fully given, because forgiveness is about what I need to do for me, but trust is earned. Yeah, trust is earned. So we don't have to trust somebody right off the bat just because they ask us to, or just because they belong to an organization, or even are a part of a family. It's okay for somebody to take time and earn your trust. That's all right. So, permission granted. I say that for me too. Second of all, judgment can take us out with a shadow projection, right? So you probably heard about, like, if I'm pointing at you, I've got 3 fingers pointing back at me, right? So why do we do this? Why do we project a shadow upon other people? It could be a part of ourselves that we don't like. And, Brene Brown, actually, I had a quote from Brene Brown. She said, research tells us that we judge people in areas where we're vulnerable to shame. Especially, we pick others who are doing worse than we're doing in order to feel better about ourselves. That's Brene Brown, in case you missed it. Yeah, so that's not so fun, right? But how can we take this and change it? So when we're feeling this way, and also I would like to add to that when we judge others, it can also be because they're reminding us of somebody else who may have harmed us in the past. Okay, so I think both of those things can be the case. But in both situations, how do we transform this? How do we transform the judgment that's going on? First of all, I'd like to say, don't shame yourself. Like, you're human, you're having emotions, and that's perfectly fine. What may happen is that you have a little bit of a rough ride. So your higher self is like, I am so in judgment. Like, I know I'm being triggered. Being a havening practitioner, I talk a lot about being triggered. Being triggered is a great opportunity to learn more about yourself. So what is it? Stay curious, stay open, stay teachable. What is this teaching me about me? What is it that I really don't like? Am I having a boundary violated? Am I being reminded of somebody in my past that like, oh gosh, they didn't treat me well and you're reminding me of them? Is it a true boundary? Is it like, hey, like, wait a minute, something is off here? Or is it like, oh man, yeah, I'm kind of the pot calling the kettle black. Yeah. So it's a good opportunity for us to take time, ride through the emotions. It can be a rocky boat ride, but it's fine. Do it. Allow yourself to feel. Don't suppress and don't should. Allow yourself to write about it. Allow yourself to express it in safe areas, because even that can help you get to the bottom of what's really going on with a therapist, a coach, or a trusted friend. Now, you got to be careful with friends that are not just like, yeah, jerk, because sometimes we need that, but that's not really what helps us grow as a person, right? So finding somebody that you can talk through it is always a plus. All right. My third breakdown of judgment would be that we judge in ignorance or privilege. Ooh. Yeah, this can be a tough one. Sometimes we feel justified in our judgment because we say, but the facts say blah, blah, blah. But what is the lived experience of that other person? Do we have the lived experience? Have we walked a mile in their shoes? Or I saw a quote the other day that said, don't judge me unless you've laced my laces, or something like that. It was cute. But yeah, we have to be mindful of that in othering people, or making judgment calls based on how things have come maybe easily or hard for us that may come easily or hard for somebody else. My co-director, Richard, brought up a great example of this. He was teaching a class of children, and they were watching Aladdin. And we know in the beginning, Aladdin steals the apple, and it's the big to-do. In case you've never seen Aladdin, he steals an apple. And they're all chased, and it's this big scene. And the child said, stealing is wrong. Stealing is bad. Fact, right? Yeah. But then Aladdin and Abu go back to wherever they lived. I haven't seen it in a long time, but where they're living, and they split the apple, and they realize, the audience realizes, like, that's the only thing they're going to have to eat that day. And the child was like, oh. All of a sudden, it becomes a lot less black and white. And this ties into our lessons. We try at Sacred Circles to always tie the lessons into each other a little bit, so we tie in activism with last week, and the week before we talked about the states of emotional development in adults and going from black and white thinking and progressing on through. Sometimes it happens, we make judgment calls, but can we again remain open to learning? And we talked about antidotes to these, and the antidote to the first one would be self-trust. It is okay to trust yourself. In fact, it's the most important thing you can work on. It's my theme of the year, self-trust, and it's been a journey. I can tell you, it's been a beautiful journey this year. So developing that trust in yourself will allow you to trust others. And that helps you have healthier boundaries and better walls. Where's my wall? I'm not like letting everybody in, but I'm not keeping everybody out. I'm in this healthy middle place where I can assess, and I trust my assessments. The second one would be staying curious. So when we're in that shadow projection, staying curious. What's really going on with me? Why am I reactive? Do I need to dig into this more, or shall it pass? Is like, how deep is this? How deep does this go? And then the third is compassion for others' lived experiences. So anyway, I hope you kind of got some thought nuggets, some little brain goodies today going on. And I hope if you're in the greater Charlotte area, we meet at Soul Wellness every second and fourth Sunday. That's 500 South Main Street in Mooresville, North Carolina. So that's north of the greater Charlotte area, just about 20 or 30 minutes. And if you have any questions, you can email me at info@theimpassionedlife.com or visit theimpassionedlife.com. And there I've got a whole section on sacred circles, or I'm on Facebook. You can find me all the places. But anyway, I hope you have a great day.